Congrats. I cannot believe we're talking back to school. Can you? It has, this summer just seems to have flown by. Now, we are right in the middle of the US and we have school in about 17 days. It seems impossible. Hi, my name is Bren Harris, the Warrior Mom with the Warrior Nation. And I founded Warrior Moms by Bren when my son was medically injured at 22 months of age. He was just a baby. And we have walked through hell. Now we walk through it like we own the place and take water back to those still in the fire. Before we jump into our tax-free weekends and when that happens in your state, think of that one time in your life. I know we're going in the Wayback Machine here. Think of that one time where you are at your lowest, most frustrated with your parenting journey. I know what mine is. Mine is, oh, hey guys, good to see you. Let us know in the chat where you're chiming in from. Um, my lowest, most frustrated time was when my son was diagnosed on the autism spectrum level 3 nonverbal. And everyone in the white coat kept saying, he will never do this or he will never do that. He will never be able to go to school, to hold a job, to live independently. And what we have done is adopted the saying, who says? What's the workaround? Yeah, you can quote me on that. Who says, what's the workaround? And that when I started reaching out and habit stacking and building those relationships and creating that community, that's when I found the answers I was seeking. And I'll tell you what, when I was at my lowest, I was craving the freedom to make the right choices without being sick with worry, the freedom to have enough money to take my son in world school, the freedom to not have to worry about any of these things and to say, wow, I made a wise decision there. Now let's build on that and build a firm foundation so that we can help other parents come alongside us. Now, what is a tax-free weekend? Well, we're going to kind of do a little bit of a history lesson, and then I will show you some sales that are coming up. They're not just sales, specific items when getting ready for school that you do not pay taxes on. And it's just a sort of a nod to the parent saying, hey, we know back to school can be tough. And this isn't about the money, guys. This is about the freedom. When we are strategic and prep for school starting intentionally with intention, then we have more funding, we have more freedom, more time freedom, more money freedom to go and do the things we want to so that we can enrich our children's lives. I don't know if you guys check out the episode with Sarah Walker. She said something really key that has stuck with me all these weeks. It's we are creating their childhood. Why are we trying to rush through summer and going, okay, how many days till school starts? Now, we don't do traditional school. We do charter school. So we're only in school a couple of days a week. What we do know is that frees us up to get life schooling in and take short trips and know that we are learning along the way. Now, I don't know about you, but I find back to school kind of exciting because my son is finally at the age, since we didn't listen to the experts, that he can be involved in this decision making process. Now he has sensory processing. He's been diagnosed with sensory processing disorder also. So what we do is we are really working on our social skills this summer. And he has one favorite pair of shoes, and that's the only pair of shoes. They're Keens with kind of the Tiva vibe with the sandals that look like hiking shoes. And if it's 50 below zero or it's 104 degrees like it was today, those are the shoes he wears. And so we wait until I'll get into that story in a minute. Let's go in the Wayback Machine. In the 1980, two states, Michigan and Ohio, decided to do a tax-free weekend for cars, for automobiles, so that you could buy, back in the day, you could buy a $10,000 car that was really considered top of the line, and you wouldn't have to pay taxes on it. Sounds pretty good, huh? Well, the back to school sort of developed over the next 15, 16 years. And then in 1997, New York decided to apply it to clothing. And that's how it helps parents getting multiple kids ready to go back to school and just gives them a little bit of a tax break. Now, why is this important? because we want to use our funds to invest and having a return on that investment, not just blow it because we're buying stuff that won't last 90 days, especially if you have boys, and and just, spending without a plan. So here at the Warrior Nation, we know that together we're stronger. And I love a bargain just like anyone else. But what I want to do is show you your states and how you can spend with intention so that you can invest that and pay it forward somewhere else. Maybe that's a vacation. A recent study came out that shows that small, frequent rewards have 80% better production results. Like, we are more productive, we're more checking off our list, we're more intentional, we're achieving more when we do those small, frequent rewards and stack those on top of each other instead of saying, well, it's just summer, summer's already gone. I'll save for a vacation next year. Well, now you have 12 months to wait. And in our mind, that doesn't look like a smart goal. So our word, we will learn new words through American Sign Language, ASL. It's kind of our own version. My son's name is Zach, so we call it Zachanese. And this is our sign for tonight. It's the letter G, just to your thumb right here. Smart goals. So tonight we're talking about smart goals and how we can strategically prepare for the back to school rush. Now, if you are just chiming in, please let us know where you're logging in from. If you threw a dart at the US, right in the middle of the United States, that's where I am. And the weather is always crazy. Today it was 104 in the shade. Tomorrow it might be 65. Who knows? What I love is that when we pool our resources and we lock arms and we strategically plan for these tax-free weekends, we can our money goes way farther. And we can say, hey, we saved X amount of money. Now let's reward ourselves with a family outing or something your children choose. My son is very, very intentional about what he likes to do these days. His birthday is this week. And, somebody said, well, he'll never be able to tell you what he wants. Well, I asked him, what do you want for your birthday? And he goes, swim. He wanted to swim. So that's what we're doing. And I want to honor those requests because we validate their choices, especially when people have said he would never speak. We're going, how do you like us now? Because some days we cannot get him to be quiet. And I love that we can enjoy these things together. Now, if you're chiming in on Instagram, YouTube, or Facebook, let us know in the chat where you're logging in from and maybe what your weather is. And I know I'm so excited that you guys are here. It's great to see you. We got Georgia in the house, Florida in the house, Seattle in the house, Oklahoma in the house, and North Carolina. I'm really, really glad you're here. I don't think it's an accident. Please slow the scroll and just sort of walk through this. I mentioned earlier, when I was at my lowest point was when my son was diagnosed, and that's been almost 12 years ago. And what in our house, we do not have an affliction, we have a diagnosis. And there's a lot of resources for that. And I have been attending all kinds of training throughout the summer to know how we can get the help he needs to live a productive adult life. He turned 17 this week. I can't believe it. Some days the days feel long, the years feel short. And what I was craving when I was at my lowest point when he was diagnosed all those years ago was freedom to make the right choice without feeling like the medical community would report me or judge me or laugh in my face. Some did. And we have chosen to approach this from a holistic standpoint, not just here, pop a pill, see if you can mask your symptoms so you can get through the school day. And that's why we chose charter school as opposed to brick and mortar school. And it works for us. I am a firm believer. If you've met one special needs child, you've met one special needs child. No exception. It's not one size fits all. And each person's personality is unique. Each person's needs are unique, just like parents. And I love that we can come together and say, hey, we're going to be strategic. And I'll be straight with you. My faith is one of my 3 pillars that I operate personally and professionally on. It's faith, health, and family. And if I don't have my health, I cannot help the people I'm called to help. And without my faith, I don't have the strength or the clarity or the vision to help others. And this is a little bit based on Proverbs 31, where the Proverbs 31 woman, just this one little segment, she considers a field and she buys it. She doesn't just buy it because it's the coolest, latest, greatest, designer logo handbag. She considers the field and she buys it. One translation says, and she invests those profits to create a vineyard. Now, I love that we can pay that forward, that we can walk in purpose and champion our calling by learning all the shortcuts and all the, if you will, mom hacks to stretch that money further so that we can invest in our children and ourselves, because we cannot pour from an empty cup. Okay, real quick, tax-free weekend. You may or may not have this in your state. I want to be clear. Due diligence. I will, when I repost this as a reel, I will post the exact resource I use to gather all this data, and you can check your state. But there are some coming up very quickly, so I want to honor your time. The first one is actually this week. Starts Friday. Tennessee, clothing under $100, school supplies under $100, computers and tablets $1,500. Woo, that's a good deal. My state doesn't cover that much. So, for example, my son loves these shoes. He wears basketball player size shoes. So, his shoes are never under $100. So, that's not something I would buy on a tax free weekend. I would wait for maybe an Amazon Prime Day or a Black Friday or whatever. Now, what I did this year is I put a price alert on the shoes that he loves, and I got two for just over the regular price of one, and we switch those out every other day. He doesn't know he's wearing the different pair because they look identical. So if you know someone, I mean, boys are diagnosed 1 in 31. If you know someone who can benefit from that little mom hack, please share it with them. Now, clothing under $100. This is probably not when you would do a really fancy heavy duty winter coat. This is where you would do underwear, socks, polos, jeans, shorts, really everyday smaller items, not necessarily the big ticket items. Because if the piece of clothing is under $100, you do not pay taxes. Now, caveat, some states say the city or local taxes will be charged, but the main tax is not. So please do your due diligence. Now, with Tennessee's coming up starting this Friday, I don't know if you caught that, a tablet, a computer, $1,500. You can spend up to $1,500 and that's tax-free. That's pretty good. And then $100 for school supplies. We're not talking one thing for school supplies. It's each item under $100. And that goes a long way when we're talking about 10 cents on every dollar. Okay, I think I've made my point. And if you have any other information, share it in the chat. The next one that comes up this week is New Mexico. Clothing, less than 100, computers, 1,000, computer equipment. I understand that to be additional accessories. Maybe that might be a printer or a Wi-Fi extender, all that stuff. And certain school supplies under $30. See, each state is a little different. So I want you to look at your state and see, get the list from last year or get an estimated list of school supplies and go ahead and do this, because why not? It's there for us to help stretch that money further. Now, we have a couple of more. Virginia is the following week. I know that you can't see this on this, but I think this is really, really cool. Virginia goes the 1st to the 3rd of August. Energy Star, WaterSense, and generators up to $1,000. Can you believe this? Tax free the first weekend of August. And the 1st through the 3rd of August. I thought that was really unique because that's very different than the other states. So they're selecting specific things that can be tax free. Now, why are we talking about this? Again, quick recap. The original thought was in 1980. Ohio and Michigan came up with a tax-free weekend so people could buy a vehicle, a car. and not pay taxes on it. Well, then some years later, in the late 90s, New York decided to make it about clothing and put it in August before school starts. Now, I know East Coast schools start a little later, so you guys can. Oh, hey, great to see you. Great to see you guys. We have Ohio in the house. Um, and I love that we can come together and learn what each state that we would be shopping in. Like just now, I had a warrior mom reach out to me, and she lives on the border of Oklahoma and often shops in North Texas. So she could hit both states' tax-free sales. All right, here's one. Iowa, also coming up very quickly, August 1st and 2nd. Clothing and footwear less than $100. So again, this might not be the big ticket items or the big basketball size shoes that my son wears, basketball player size shoes, but this might be a simple polo shirt, a simple pair of jeans, a simple pair of shorts that are school approved. This might be socks, underwear, all these things. Because I don't know about you guys, but my son is growing like crazy. And I was joking the other day when puberty strikes. I mean, he shot up 8 or 9 inches in 1 year. And yeah, he towers over me. So I'm going to scroll back just real quick. This is how Warrior Mom started, right there at the kitchen table. And that is my son when he was a baby. That's been many moons ago. And this is us going on a medical trip not too long ago out of state. And you can see he has his big ear defenders. He has now graduated to the cool loops, and they're gold. So everyone thinks he got his ears pierced. It's funny. And I don't have all the answers. What I do know is that when we pool our resources, that we are able to make wiser, more strategic decisions and have those small, frequent rewards that help us be more productive. And a quick recap: faith, health, and family are my three main pillars for this year, both personally and professionally. And Proverbs 31 talks about the Proverbs 31 woman is wise, and she considers a field, she buys it, and uses those profits to invest in a vineyard. Now, I understand that this may not be your faith. I'm sharing my faith. And I love that we can say, hey, I really am onto something because I know that it benefits myself and my family and those around us and those we are called to help. Okay, let's get back to our tax-free weekend. This is another one. Florida gets the win for an entire month of tax-free shopping. School supplies at 50, clothing, footwear, and accessories 100, computers and accessories 1,500, learning aids and jigsaw puzzles. Oh my gosh. In all my research, I did not see another state that was so comprehensive. And it's the 1st through the 30th or 31st of August. Let's check. Yeah, 31st of August. So the entire month of August, you can shop tax-free in Florida. Now, my state only has clothing. Let me see if I can find it here. We did New Mexico. So if you know someone in New Mexico, make sure they know that's coming up. Now, Arkansas is the week after that. And it's clothing and footwear, accessories, and school supply. No maximum. That got my attention. We are buying school supplies for multiple children, then that can really add up, especially when the school supply list comes out and they're trying to provide for less fortunate students. So they always pad that list. Teachers, you do a great job. Thank you so much for all you do. And I know sometimes it's a thankless job. Hey guys, great to see you. If you're just joining us, my name is Bren, the Warrior Mom, and I founded Warrior Moms when my son was medically injured at 22 months of age. And we received an official medical diagnosis over 12 years ago. And in that time, we really have walked through hell. Now we walk through it like we own the place and take water back to those in the fire. I am a firm believer when we lock arms and join forces, we become unstoppable. Now, there's one more on here I wanted to share with you to make sure that you were aware. We have West Virginia is also at the beginning of August, clothing under 125, school supplies 50, school instruction materials 20. sports equipment, and then computers or tablets. Now, this, when you get into those higher dollar items, generators, water sense, computers, tablets, this really starts to add up. And hey, guys, great to see you. We have Wyoming in the house and Iowa in the house. I'm so glad you're here. And and I know that everyone is different, and that schools on the coast tend to start a little later. Some schools go year round. We start in about 17 days here in the heartland. And it's really important to know. I mean, when we moved back from the States, you saw that picture sitting at the little kitchen table. That was 2009. I did not know there was such a thing as a tax-free weekend. We came back from Japan. I had no clue. And I mean, this is a way for us to consider the field, buy it, and invest it. And I know this may not be your love language. This is completely my love language right now. And I know that together we are stronger. Now, we're being strategic, living with intention. And then our ASL sign tonight is SMART goals. SMART goals. Remember, you are not alone. And together we really are stronger. I'm Bren Harris, the Warrior Mom at The Warrior Nation, your source for truth, transparency, and trust. Warriors, unite.